Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Royalty Cut here, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be taking you through the process on how to cut and draft an easy process that. Now if this video is a video you're interested in, please keep on watching to the end, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. So basically for this tutorial we are going to be working with this pattern paper you see over here, and of course a curve ruler and a pencil for it. So let's get started with this tutorial. Basically, the measurement that we are going to be needing for this tutorial is our shoulder to shoulder measurement first of all, and I'm working with the shoulder to shoulder measurement of 16 inches. We are going to be needing our round armhole, so I'm working with the round armhole of 16 inches. Then you'll be needing your bust point, that's from your shoulder to your nipple. I'm working with the bust point of 10 inches, and under bust length, that's shoulder to under your boobs, I'm working with the under bust length of 13 inches and the waist length of 16 inches. That's from your shoulder to your waist, 16 inches. You also be needing your round bust measurement. I'm working with the round bust of 36 inches, and I'm working with the round waist of 32 inches. So you'll be needing your bust span or your nipple to nipple measurement. So my bust span is 8 inches. You can also choose to measure yours. So this measurement might differ depending on the person you're working with, or depending on the size you're drafting for. So it might differ. It might not necessarily be the same measurements that I have here, and it's totally fine. So just go ahead and measure the client that you're working for and then pen it down, because we'll be making use of this 9 measurements that I mentioned here. So let's get started with this tutorial. So this border over here will be serving as my shoulder line. So every measurement I'm going to be taking vertically will be from this border here, which will be serving as my shoulder line. So you can also choose to go ahead and also draw a line across to make it more defined or more definite. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do that right now. So this line over here is my shoulder line, which I'm going to label. So this is my shoulder line. So from the shoulder line, I'm going to go ahead and mark my vertical measurements first. From the shoulder, I'm going to mark my bust point. I'm working with the bust point of 10 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 10 inches all the way. And I'm working with the under bust length of 13 inches, which is basically what I am working with. So I'm marking 13 inches vertically, just like I marked the bust point that I have earlier too. So this is 13 inches that I'm marking this way. And the full length I have here is 16 inches, which is serving as my waist length. So I already went ahead to measure it out before cutting out the pattern paper. So just make sure you measure your own waist length. So the full hem of this paper here will be serving as my waist length because it's up to 16 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and rule these lines that I've marked across to make them more visible for us to work with. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead and label them. So this is my bust point, this is my under bust length, and this is my waist length. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to divide my shoulder to shoulder measurement into 2. So I'm working with the shoulder to shoulder measurement of 16 inches. 16 inches divided by 2 is 8 inches. So from this folded edge here, I'm going to be inserting the 8 inches from the shoulder line all the way downward this way. Now, to actually determine where this 8 inches will be stopping, I'll be needing my round armhole measurement divided by 2. So the round armhole that I'm also working with is 16 inches. 16 inches divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take the 8 inches this way. Now, I've marked it down. That is actually where our shoulder to shoulder measurement will be stopping at. That point that I marked the 8 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and connect it. So you can go ahead and extend out that line just to be sure about it. So basically this is it. Now the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to determine the neck width and depth that I want to work with. So for the purpose of this tutorial, the neck width that I'm working with is 3 inches, and the neck depth that I'm working with is also 3 inches. Now you can choose to do more or less depending on what you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect this 3 inches I marked for the width to the 3 inches I marked for the depth. So after connecting this is what I have for our neck. So I'm going to come over to the armhole area at this point. For our shoulder slope, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch, just as you see me do over here. And I'm going to be connecting this 1 inch that I marked here all the way down to this neck width that I marked, just like you see me do. So after that, this is what we have. Now I'm going to go ahead and measure what I have from this 1 inch that I marked at the shoulder slope to this point. So remember, it was already 8 inches and I've removed 1 inch for shoulder slope. So it's remaining 7 inches, but it's always good to actually measure to actually be sure. So I have 7 inches here. I'm going to divide 7 inches into 2. So to actually get the center line of that line, so I have the center at this point, and I'm going to come in at that point that I marked the center point of 7 inches. I'm going to be coming in by half of an inch, just like you see me do over here. So this half of an inch that I marked here, I'm going to connect it to this 1 inch for our shoulder slope. Now you can actually watch what I'm doing to understand better. So this is what we have. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to divide the round bust that I'm working with into 4. Now I'm working with the round bust of 36. 36 divided by 4 is 9 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and input 9 inches at this armhole line that I marked here, not at the bust point. I don't know if you can see. So I'm inputting the 9 inches at this line that I have my armhole line, and not at the bust point. Now the purpose is for us to be able to get where our armhole curve will be stopping at. So at that point that I marked my round bust divided by 4, I'm going to use my curve ruler to place the line to be connecting from this point to this half of an inch at the curvy part of it. So just make sure you get the curvy part of it so that your armhole would sit properly. So basically this is what we have. So this is what we have, and as you can see, the armhole is already sitting perfectly well for it. So after that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do at this point is to impute my bust span, or your nipple to nipple measurement, divided by 2. So for me, I'm working with the bust span of 8 inches. So 8 inches divided by 2 is 4. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the 4 at the bust point, mark it at the under bust length, and also at the waist length. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead and connect it this way. Now you can actually choose to get it up a little bit. I don't know if you can see. Just extend it a little bit. Let me measure mine so that I would know. I extended mine by 2 inches. So just extend it up a little bit. So after that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do at this point is to take half of an inch at this center part. This center part, I'm going to take half of an inch starting from this bust span measurement that I marked here. I'm marking half of an inch at the under bust line, half of an inch at the waistline. I don't know if you can see that. Half of an inch at the waistline, if you can see that. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect it this way. So I'm also going to go ahead and mark that half of an inch at the bust point line too. So I'm also going to connect that half of an inch to the under bust line too. So I don't know if this is visible enough. So this is what we have at this point. Next thing I'm going to go ahead and do right now is to impute my cup size. Now I've actually explained more on this cup size in my previous videos, but I'm just going to go ahead and summarize it here. Now for a big cup size, you can use 1.25. If your breast is normal, you can use 1 inch. If you have a smaller breast, just go ahead and use 0.75. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to be using 1 inch. Starting from this bust span that I have here divided by 2, I will mark it on my waistline. I will mark it at the under bust line, the 1 inch at the waistline and at the under bust line, just like you see me do over here. So just go ahead and connect it. I don't know if it is visible enough. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do at this point is to connect this under bust line that I have here to the bust point. But before that, I'll be coming down at the bust point by 1 inch. So just go ahead and mark it a little bit. So I'm going to use my curve ruler to place from that under bust length to the 1 inch line, just like you see me do over here. So this is what I have. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and do at this point, after connecting this 1 inch to the 1 inch that I came down by at the bust point, I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect from this bust point center to the center part of this 7 inches that we marked earlier. So I don't know if you can see it. That part that I came in by half of an inch, the center part of the measurement we got from this. So just watch the way I'm placing my curve ruler from this bust point to this point. So this is what I have. So just try to blend it so that it doesn't give you a sharp edge at the end of the day. So this is what we have. So I don't know if you can see what I have at this point. So I connected from this bust point to the center part of the measurement that I have. So this is the curvy part of this other side. I don't know if it is visible enough. So for the center part of this princess that we are making, I'm going to come down by 2 inches at this point. So I have 2 inches here. From this 1 inch shoulder slope to this point, you come down by 2 inches. So this is 2 inches that I have at this point. I'm going to go ahead and connect just like the way I connected this part. I'm going to be connecting from this bust point that I have here to this 2 inch that I came down by. So this is what I have. Just place your curve ruler, or you can actually blend it if you can. So this is what I have. So basically, this is what I have at this point. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my hand to blend it in so that it doesn't have a sharp edge. I don't know if you can see what I have at this point. So this is what I have for the center front, and this is what I have for the side front. So for us to be able to extend this armhole that we have here, I'm going to be coming out by 2 inches. That's from this half inch that I have here. I'm going to be coming out by 2 inches, and I'm going to be extending the line this way. Now make sure you extend the line upwards so that it does not affect the shape of your bustier. So I'm going to go ahead and remeasure it to be sure that it's up to 2 inches. Okay, I have 2 inches here. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a new armhole. So before we do that, I'm going to be adding extra 2 inch sewing allowance to my round bust measurement. Remember, we had our round bust divided by 4. So I just added 2 inch sewing allowance for us to be able to create a new armhole. So from that 2 inch that I extended here to the allowance that I added to my bust point, I'm going to go ahead and connect it this way. So basically, this is our new armhole. While cutting, we are going to be cutting this last armhole that I created and not this one. So this will enable it not to shorten while joining it. I don't know if you can see. So basically, this is it. Now, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to divide my round waist measurement by 4. So I'm working with the round waist of 32. 32 divided by 4 is 8 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 8 inches here. So after that, I'll measure what I have from this half inch to this 1 inch. I think it should be 1.5 inches in total. So I'm going to go ahead and replace it back so that our round waist measurement wouldn't shorten. So after that, I will now add the extra 2 inch sewing allowance that I added to the round bust. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect it just like you see me do over here. So basically, this is what we have. Now, after that, we are going to be inputting our bust dart. So for our bust dart, just go ahead and divide your round bust by 4. So for me, my round bust is 36 inches. Divided by 4 is 9 inches. I'm going to mark that at the bust point this time around. So basically, at that point that I marked at the bust point, I'm going to go ahead and get the difference between my front waist length and my back waist length. So my front waist length is 16 inches and the back waist length is 15 inches. So the difference is actually 1 inch. Now you can choose to measure yours and be sure because it can actually differ from body sizes. It could be 1 inch or 1.5 inches depending on the person you're working for. So for me, mine is 1 inches. That means I'm going to be coming down at this point that I marked my round bust measurement divided by 4 by 1 inches. I don't know if you can see. So at that point exactly, I came down by 1 inches. I'm going to go ahead and connect it to the center part of this line. Just watch what I'm doing. So I don't know if you can see this. So this is actually for the bust dart and it will be going off while cutting it. So this is it for the front body pattern that we have. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see. So the next thing we are going to go ahead and do is to cut this out. When you get to this point, let me show you how you can close off the dart. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my scissors to slash open this part that we actually marked for the dart, just like you see me do over here. So but don't take it all the way down to the tip. I don't know if you can see, I just took it a little bit close to the tip. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring my masking tape, cut a little piece of it. Now I'm going to take this and place it on top of the line. Now I'm going to make sure that it's aligning with our bust point line. I don't know if you can see, just watch closely. So I placed it on top of the bust point line, just like you can see. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my tape to mark it. So basically this is what we have. Now in some cases you can choose to go ahead and blend it to make it look a little bit straighter. I don't know if you can see. So the excess there does not actually mean. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut suit just like you see me do over here. So this is what I have. I'm now going to go ahead and cut through the new armhole that we have. So basically, this is it for the sides of our princess dart. I don't know if you can see. So this is what the front part of it is looking like. All neat and all perfect. So this is it for the front. And the next thing we are going to go ahead and do right now is for us to draft the back part of this princess dart. So let's go ahead and get started. The back pattern, I'm going to be making use of this pattern paper you see over here. So the first thing we are going to go ahead and do is to map out a line that will be serving as our shoulder line. So the hem of my paper is not straight, so I'm just going to go ahead and get a straight line that will be serving as our shoulder line here. So this is my shoulder line. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess that I have on top of it. The next thing I'm going to be marking right now is to get our vertical measurements. So we'll be needing our bust point, which is 10 inches. Remember, that's what we are working with. And we'll be needing our waist length, which is 16 inches. That's what I have here on the exact. So I'm going to go ahead and extend the bust point line all the way down so that it will be more visible for us to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and label this. This is shoulder line, this is bust point, and this is my waistline. So after that, I'll be mapping out 1 inch from the shoulder line to the waistline. That will be serving as our zipper allowance. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark it all the way down, and I'm going to go ahead and connect it. So this line that I mapped out, this 1 inch line will be serving as our zipper allowance. So this is it for it. So every other measurement that I'm going to be taking right now will be starting from this 1 inch line that I marked and not from the end here. I don't know if you understand. So the next thing we are going to go ahead and do is to divide our shoulder to shoulder measurement into 4. So I'm working with the shoulder to shoulder measurement of 8 inches. 8 inches divided by 4, just like we did for the front pattern of it, divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark it here. Now to determine where the 8 inches will be stopping, we'll be needing our round armhole divided by 2. That's also 16 inches divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark it. So I'm basically repeating what I did for the front pattern to the back pattern. So this is what I have here. So after that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to determine the neck width. Now the neck width will have to be the same thing with the back, with the front piece, so that the shoulder would align. So we are still going to go ahead and do 3 inches for the neck width. Now for the neck depth is actually what you can choose to change depending on the back that you're working with. So I did 3 inches for the back width for it to align to the front. Then for the depth, I did 2 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect it this way. But this time around, I'll be connecting it into the zipper allowance. I don't know if you can see. So for the shoulder slope, we'll still go with 1 inch. So we are going to connect the 1 inch to the neck width that we have. So measure what we have from the 1 inch all the way down, which is 7 inches, divided by 2, which is 3.5 inches. At that point, I'll come in by half of an inch and I'll connect it to our 1 inch shoulder slope. So at the armhole line, divide your round bust by 4. So mine is 9 inches, divided by 4 is 9 inches. So I'm going to mark 9 inches for me to get where to connect it to. So basically, I'm going to connect that 9 inches that I marked to the half inches that I marked at the shoulder line. So this is what we have for our armhole curve. I don't know if it's visible enough. So the next thing we are going to go ahead and do right now is to come over to our waistline. You'll be needing your bust span divided by 2 or your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. So mine is 8 inches, divided by 2 is 4 inches. I'm going to mark it at the waistline. Now, I'm taking the measurement from the zipper allowance line, the line that I marked here, not from this tip. So I will also go ahead and mark it at the bust point, which is 4 inches, and I'm going to go ahead and connect it. I don't know if you can see. So for our dart, I'll be taking half of an inch on both sides. We call it dart leg. That's half of an inch from the center line of our nipple to nipple measurement, half of an inch, and I'll be connecting it just like the way you do your regular dart. So it's no difference from this. So basically, this is it for the dart of the back. I don't know if it's visible enough. Now, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do, remember that we are working for a princess dart. So the back should actually show that it's also a princess dart, unless you choose to do anything different. but normally the back two should be having this princess dart effect at it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, at this point that I have my bust point, this point here, I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect it to the center part of the 7 inches that we have. I don't know if you can see, so just watch me closely. Now you wouldn't want this back part to be pointed to avoid your back dress having a cup at the back of it, or having this cup effect at the back of it. So you wouldn't want it to actually look too curvy, just like the front one. So I don't know if you can see. You can actually choose to blend in this point so that it doesn't give that cup effect at the back of your dress. So basically, this is it for the back piece. That's the dart for it. So there's nothing more that we are going to be doing at the armhole. This is actually the way it's going to be looking. So I'm going to go ahead and impute my round body measurement. I've already done my round bust at the armhole. So I'm going to be adding the allowance just like I added to the front piece. So I added 2 inch. At the waist length, I'll divide my round waist, which is 32 inches, into 4. That's 8 inches. That's 8 inches. So after that, I'll replace this 1 inch that I took for my dart, and I'll go ahead and add extra 2 inches for the allowance. So basically, this is it. Now I'm going to go ahead and connect it this way. So basically, this is what our back piece is looking like. Now for the zip contouring, at the waist length, just come in by 1/2 inch, or divide the 1 inch into 2. That's 1/2 inch, just like I did here. And I'll be connecting it outward this way. Now this is to avoid any kind of zip bulging at the back of our dress. So basically we are done with the back part of this princess dart. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this off. So just watch closely to know which parts to cut off. After cutting out the back piece, this is what it is looking like. So let me just get the front piece so that we can place it together. So this is the back piece. Let me take this aside, and then this is the front piece. Now you can actually tell the difference in the sense that the side part of the front piece is actually looking a little bit curvy at this cup area than the back part of it. I don't know if you can see. So basically this is the end of this tutorial. Please do well to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. See you in our next video. Bye.